Welcome to the Central Bank of Kuwait's podcast. This podcast aims to present the most important banking topics affecting us as people and as a society. I am Mariam Lumkhayzim from the Central Bank of Kuwait. You may have come across the governor's statement on August 25, 2022 about the approval for testing a new open banking product within the regulatory sandbox. We will discuss in this episode the topic of open banking. This aspect of financial technologies has been gaining increased attention from regulators as it impacts individuals, the financial sector, and the economy as a whole. In this episode, we host Mr. Jarrah Ruwayeh from the Central Bank of Kuwait to shed light on this topic.
Thanks, Mariam, and welcome to our listeners. Open banking is one of the fields that have developed recently under the wider umbrella of fintech, or financial technologies. Open banking services are offered by companies. These services are provided either through a website or smartphone applications, allowing the customer to aggregate their bank accounts, transactions, and data that may spread over multiple banks in one place. In addition, open banking serves the customers in managing their bank accounts and help in analyzing their daily transaction within a customer-defined time frame, a month for example. Thus, the customer can make better decisions informed by the various analysis provided by the app or website. This gives the customer a better understanding of his spending behavior and patterns. For instance, how much did they spend on restaurants and cafes, travel, etc., and the percentage of their total monthly spending.
How can customers benefit from this service, Jarrah?
Open banking services allows the customer to take decisions based on data analysis related to the customer's spending habits. This enhances the customer's ability to save and invest, as they can spot unwarranted spending. It helps also to estimate the impact of these financial decisions over time. In short, open banking helps in controlling, managing, and prioritizing spending. This means better planning based on plenty of data that leads to better management of personal assets and liabilities. In addition, the customer would benefit from promotions and privileges offered by third parties and other banks, leading to choosing services with lower cost and highest returns. It is also important, Mariam, to explain to the listeners that the open banking services are subject to customers' consent. They authorize the open banking service provider to share their data in a manner that secures customers' privacy and discretion. The customer has also the right to suspend the authorization at any time. And that's how the customer benefit from the open banking services, which help planning and decision-making in spending, saving, or borrowing, as mentioned.
Our listeners may be wondering about the level of security of the open banking services.
As we seek to promote new and advanced services, providing the highest levels of security is at the top of our priorities. Therefore, the Central Bank of Kuwait has introduced the cybersecurity framework for the banking sector, comprising a set of standards and requirements that match those adopted by the most developed countries in this field. This topic may lead us to touch upon the CBK regulatory sandbox that was launched in 2018 to foster the financial technologies, one of which is the open banking. The objective of the sandbox is to assess any new product through a period of vigorous testing and observation prior to its actual launch in the market, to ensure the validity of this product from all aspects, especially in terms of security, which needs to meet all CBK standards and requirements.
Did other countries permit open banking services within their banking and financial system?
Indeed, many countries have permitted these services, and we've been studying their practices extensively. We found different models implemented around the world. Some of these models oblige banks to share data with open banking companies, whereas others grant the banks the right not to share data. And as I previously mentioned, in this stage we are studying these practices to develop our vision on the open banking model that suits the Kuwaiti market and serves the needs of all stakeholders, including banks, customers, and fintechs. Our study will include the range of data that can be shared in order to guarantee the best outcome of the open banking services.
You mentioned, Jarrah, the regulatory sandbox more than once. If someone is interested, how can they apply to the sandbox?
It's important to explain, Mariam, that the sandbox is a safe testing environment which allows testing and simulating innovative products prior to their actual launch in the market. These simulations and tests take place with volunteer customers to study the product and fix any bugs that emerge during the testing period. Interested entrepreneur can apply through the regulatory sandbox page on the CBK's website. I would highly recommend reading the regulatory sandbox framework published on the website to understand the application requirements and admission criteria.
With this, we've reached the end of this episode of the CBK podcast. Many thanks for this informative conversation on open banking and its benefits for individuals and banking sector.